A very good afternoon, students present today for the online lecture of third year BCom semester 5 for the subject Business Administration. I warmly welcome one and all to the lecture. Now, I hope that you had attended the previous lecture when we had started with the discussion on the second part of Unit 1 or the second chapter of Unit 1 that talks on financial planning. We had discussed with the meaning of financial planning, the objectives of financial planning, also the factors that affects financial plan. So before we move further with the new topics of the day, let me spend some time to revise the concepts we did in the previous class. So have a look at all the topics covered. We had started with the definition of financial planning. So students, I hope you remember the two things that comprises in the definition of financial planning. When I say we are planning the finance, we are actually estimating the fund requirements and thereby deciding the sources of funds from where the finance can be raised. So have a quick glance at the meaning of financial planning. As I said, we are deciding the fund requirement, that is the amount of capital required, and the type of securities or the sources from where the funds can be raised. We had also discussed with what are the objectives or what are the goals of financial planning. I had explained you in the previous lecture also that why financial planning is so important and inevitable. Why can't we just raise the funds as and when we require, or why can't we use the funds as and when we want? Because these things would result into either a sudden shortage of funds that will not help us achieve the business objectives, or on the other hand, in absence of a financial plan, you may also suffer with excessive funds lying idle in your business. Even that is not a good thing because you have spent the cost of raising the funds, but on the other hand, you are not able to get an effective return on the same. And that is why we need to study the objectives of financial planning. So financial plan will help us supply funds to run the business smoothly, determine the plans, the policies for raising and use of funds. Once the policies are determined, the same have to be implemented. Estimating the cash requirements because we want to create liquidity. We also talked about this in the previous lecture that while estimating the cash requirements, we should be aware about enough liquidity also so that the firm can meet with its liabilities as and when they occur. There should neither be a scarcity of funds, there should neither be excessive funds lying, but there has to be optimum and adequate funds available at a given time. Also, because we are doing planning, and of course planning is done for future, it will reduce the risk of future uncertainties. We are aware about the fact that future is uncertain. We cannot completely avoid the risks or contingencies, but at least by planning for the same in advance, we can minimize or reduce the consequences of the same. Lastly, after doing financial planning, management gets confident of the fact that it has sufficient fund to meet with the contingencies or the future liabilities as and when they will occur. So I hope you are clear by now. Students, in the previous lecture, we also discussed about an important topic on the factors affecting financial planning. Very quickly, we'll go through the point one by one again. So those who failed to attend the previous lecture, kindly pay attention for a while. When I say factors affecting financial planning, they are those factors which will affect the sources from where the funds can be raised. It will actually govern the fact that whether the funds can be raised from the own funds or it shall be borrowed from outside. If I put it simply, it will affect whether the funds to be raised from equity or whether it will be raised from debentures, preference shares, loan from a bank, etc. So in that, number one, money market conditions. Money market conditions, we had talked about two conditions. It could be a boom or it could be a depression. So when there is a boom period going on, there is a prosperity phase going on, investors are more likely to get inclined towards higher income rather than the safety point of view. So in that case, they would invest more in the equity. But on the other hand, when there is a depression phase going on, the investors would be more safety seekers. They would want a fixed dividend or a fixed interest that they can receive through the preference shares or the debentures respectively. Number two, retaining control. So we had talked about one of the rights that is available only to equity shareholder. So students, do you remember the rights? They were the voting rights that are available to an equity shareholder and not available to a preference shareholder or a debenture holder. When you give voting rights, it means you are sharing with your control with the equity shareholders. You are parting, you are dividing the control. So in case a company wants to retain the control only in their hands, they may avoid raising the funds from the equity share capital and may go for preference or debentures. Thirdly, the nature of assets. So we had discussed that in case you are raising funds from secured loans, for example, debentures, you need to put assets at a mortgage. So if you don't have assets of higher value that can be mortgaged, it is better not to go for debentures and to go for the ordinary shares, the equity shares. Next is capital requirement. So if you are required of only a small amount of capital, it would be beneficial if you go with only one type of security, maybe equity. But in case you want a large amount of capital, it would be better to go for different type of securities, namely could be preference shares, debentures, etc. The last 2 points talk on the stability of earnings and the nature of business. If a business has stable and regular income being earned, the business is not of a risky in nature. In that case, it can raise the funds from the preference shareholders or from debentures where they are in a position to pay fixed dividend and fixed interest respectively. But in case the business is risky in nature, has no steady or stable regular income being earned, it should go for the equity share capital because as we know, it is not compulsory to pay them the dividends. The next few points that we had discussed in the previous class, I hope your concepts are getting revised with the discussion. The next was cost of financing. So I had explained you that the cost of raising finance from equity shares is higher relatively and comparatively to the debentures or the preference shares because we need to bear the expense of brokerage, underwriting commission, advertisement, etc. So in case you don't want to bear the higher cost of financing, the company can go with raising of funds through debentures or preference shares. The next being legal restrictions. So it could be some restrictions that could be imposed by SEBI or the Companies Act that a company has to abide by. Next, attitude of investors. So there were two different types of attitudes I had explained of the investors. It could be an investor who is a risk taker or the another who is a safety seeker. Now, when an investor is a risk taker and prefers higher income over safety, he can go for equity. But on the other hand, when he is a safety seeker, he wants a fixed return, that is to say a fixed dividend or a fixed interest, he can go for the debentures or the preference shares. The taxation policy of government. So we discussed about the debenture interest, how it is a tax deductible expense. So in that case, if the company wants to reduce the burden of tax, it may go with the raising of finance through debentures so that the interest that they pay on it can be allowed as a deduction while the payment of tax. Lastly, the general level of interest rates. It was very simple to say that if the interest rate is higher relatively, comparatively, one can go for equity share capital. But in case it is lower, one can go for debentures or loans taken from banks. So I hope that you are clear with all what we had discussed in the previous lecture. Let us now move with another important topic and the new topic for the day that talks on the steps or the procedure or what we can call the process of financial planning. Of course, you have understood two steps already while understanding the definition of financial planning, that we have to estimate the fund requirements, whether the short-term fund requirement or the long-term fund requirement, and deciding the source of funds from where the finance will be raised. But there are another steps also that as a finance manager one has to consider while undertaking financial planning. So let us see them one by one. The first step or the first, you can say, stage in the process of financial planning is determining financial objectives. Now, in the definition, very well, we have studied that under financial planning, we are estimating the fund requirement. But when we estimate the fund requirement, it is not based on something that is of past. We are actually estimating the fund requirements based on the objectives of the business. The objectives could be a short-term financial objective or it could be a long-term financial objective. When we talk about the long-term financial objective, it could be the objective of wealth maximization or increasing the productivity. And when we talk about the short-term financial objective, it could be maintaining enough liquidity, having enough cash on hand to meet with the liabilities as and when they arise. So first and the foremost step that one has to take while undertaking financial planning is to determine the financial objective, whether a long-term financial objective or a short-term financial objective. Next, it is review of problems. Now you have to keep one thing in mind, that when we are doing planning or we are determining the objectives, it is something pertaining to future. And there could be some changes taking place. There could be some problems that come in the way of implementation of the plan. So when we have already determined the objectives, there could be some problems that are likely to arise while implementing the plan. It may happen that one needs to review the plan again, needs to make some modifications, or may also require preparing of a fresh plan. So the problems arising in the way have to be reviewed before we move on to the next step of financial planning. So the third step now comes estimating of the capital requirement. So to repeat myself, we first determined the objectives, whether a long-term objective or a short-term objective. We reviewed the problems that may arise and come in the way of implementing the plan. Thirdly, now we estimate the financial or the capital requirement as to how much fund is actually required by the business organization. As I mentioned earlier also, the requirement can be a short-term requirement or a long-term requirement. That is to say, a working capital requirement or a fixed capital requirement. Now, a business may require funds to meet with the day-to-day expenses or to invest in the current assets, which we call the short-term or the working capital requirement, or it may also require finance or funds to invest in the fixed assets or to use it for the long-term objective. So even those fund requirements have to be estimated under financial planning. Because as I said, we neither want a scarcity of fund nor do we want excessive funds lying idle. Number 4, now when you have determined the financial objectives, you have reviewed the problems also that may come in the way, you have estimated the fund requirements as to how much fund is required for both short-term and the long-term needs. Now comes the 4th step where you would select the proper source from where the funds will be raised. When I say proper source, we have to decide as a finance manager that the funds would be raised through equity or it would be raised through preference shares, debentures, a loan taken from the bank, a public deposit, any other financial institution, or whatsoever. So the sources have to be optimally decided in this step because, as I discussed in the previous lecture also, the fund is raised at a cost. There is a cost of capital involved. So when you decide the source of funds, you have to decide as to at what cost and for how long the funds are going to be obtained. You need to work for acquiring the funds at a minimum cost. Number 5, now we have decided the source of fund as well. So we need to work for obtaining the funds. We have decided the source. Let us say, for example, we have decided that the funds would be raised through banks in the form of a loan. So now you have to work for how the funds will be obtained. It could be filling up the necessary forms, fulfilling the formalities, negotiating with the banks. It could be submitting the necessary documents required. Maybe the assets are to be mortgaged. So even those things will have to be worked upon while you are actually obtaining the funds. Lastly, now when the funds are also obtained, comes the last but not the least step where we have to determine the policies and the procedures as to how the funds will be utilized, when, where, and how the funds are going to be utilized, whether it will be invested in the current assets or whether it will be invested in the fixed assets, whether the funds will be used to meet the working capital, that is the day-to-day requirements, or the long-term requirements, everything will be decided at this step. Because as we say, the funds are to be raised at a minimum cost, but they have to be utilized optimally. Whenever you work for the utilization of funds, it should be giving you a return more than the cost you bear to raise the same. So I hope you are clear with the topic of the process of financial planning as to what steps are covered into it. To give you a quick recap, we first decided the objectives, the financial objectives, whether short-term or long-term. What was the short-term objectives, my students? It was to have enough liquidity, while the long-term objective could be wealth maximization. We reviewed the problems that may arise in the way of implementation of the plan. Once that is done, we estimate the capital requirement, whether short-term or long-term. We decide the source of funds from where the fund would be raised. Number 5, we work for obtaining the funds, and once the funds have been obtained, number 6, we would decide how it will be used optimally. One more thing, when you prepare this answer and when you write the answer, you should pay attention to the sequence of the steps. The sequence, the order of the steps has to be maintained as you can see above. It has to be in the same chronology when you write the answer for your exams also. So moving on to the second topic for the day, a new topic, types of financial plan. We have discussed all about financial planning, and by now we know that financial planning could be done either for the short-term finance requirements or for the long-term finance requirements. So there are a number of types as well. It could be a short-term financial plan. It could be a long-term financial plan. And there is one more that you see that is new to you, overall financial plan. So let me first discuss the first two that you already know by now. So a short-term financial plan could be a financial plan we prepare for maximum a period of 1 year. A plan that is for a duration of 1 year is known as a short-term financial plan. And we know that short-term financial plan is basically prepared to estimate the short-term financial requirements of a business enterprise, meaning to say the working capital requirements as to the requirement to meet with the day-to-day operations, the day-to-day activities of a business enterprise. So when a plan is prepared for the same, it will be known as a short-term financial plan. While the second that you see, it is the long-term financial plan. When I say long-term financial plan, it is a plan that we prepare for a period of 5 years or more. When I say short-term plan was for 1 year, long-term plan can be for a time period of 5 or more years. And as we know, long-term financial plan will be prepared to estimate the financial requirements for the longer time duration. That is, we are paying attention to the fixed capital requirements and not the working capital requirement which we did in the previous one. So as we know, the short-term financial requirement could be having enough liquidity to meet with the day-to-day expenses. And on the other hand, the long-term objective could be wealth maximization, increasing the productivity. So for the same, when you prepare a financial plan to estimate its financial requirement, it becomes your long-term financial plan. Thirdly, the financial plan that you see that you are not familiar up till now, it is the overall financial plan. Now, as you can see, the name itself suggests it is a financial plan that is prepared for overall financial requirement. It is not particularly for the short-term requirements or not for the long-term requirements, but it is basically covering all type of financial requirements. It could be when the occasion of promoting or starting a new company arises, that is when you are starting altogether a new company. Then the financial plan is framed covering all the types of requirements, maybe short, that is the working capital requirement, maybe long as well, that is the fixed capital requirement. So such a financial plan is nothing but an overall financial plan. Let us see as to what are the matters or what are the things covered under overall financial plan. So the overall financial plan would be completed when the following four matters are settled. Number one, as to how much assets are required. So when you are undergoing an overall financial plan, you have to decide as to how much of the total assets are required in an organization. It can be dependent on many factors such as the expansion or the contraction of the business, as to how much funds are available in the business. So we have to decide the correct and the realistic value of these assets so that it neither results into overcapitalization or undercapitalization. Because after all, there has to be a proper balance between the return that we shall be getting from the total funds invested in the assets. Secondly, as to when would there be a need for raising the funds, what shall be the time of obtaining the funds. You want to raise the funds at the right time, because if you raise it quite early, that is before the time, it could be lying just idle and it would be not giving you the return as expected. So you want to raise the funds at the correct time. The third matter would be for how long the funds would be needed. Again, we already know it would be a short-term requirement or a long-term requirement. So that also has to be decided whether the funds would be required for investment in the current assets, that is for the working capital requirement, or it will be for the investment in fixed assets that we know the long-term financial requirement. And lastly, we have to decide the sources of funds that would be required. It could be equity, it could be preference, it could be debentures. So these things have to be decided because a capital structure has to be such that is optimum. We need to raise the finance at a minimum cost, but on the other hand, work for its optimum utilization. Whenever you invest your funds, the return has to be anything but more than the cost of raising the same. So I hope you are clear with the types of financial plan. That is your long-term financial plan, short-term financial plan, and the overall financial plan that covers the overall financial requirements. We move to the last and the final topic for today's lecture, that is the guiding principles of financial planning, or I can say the principles for a sound financial plan. These are the principles that a finance manager will have to apply whenever he does financial planning. So let us begin with the discussion of the same. Point number one, as you see, financial planning has to be appropriate to the objectives. This point we have already done in the process as well, that whenever a financial plan has to be designed, it should suit to the objectives. Before even doing financial planning, we have to determine the objectives, whether it is a short-term objective or whether it is a long-term objective, based on which the financial planning can be undertaken. Number two, financial planning should also aim at intensive use of resources. The funds have to be put in such a manner that the resources of business are used optimally. Otherwise, it can adversely affect the profitability of business. When I say intensive use, we mean that the funds raised for meeting with the fixed capital requirement, that is the long-term requirement, should not be used to invest in the current assets or to meet with the working capital requirement. The type of capital that is to be raised for one particular use should not be put to use in the other things. Number three, the financial plan has to be kept flexible. That is, it should have a scope of change with the changing circumstances. If a business has scarcity of funds, there should be a chance of raising the same in future. In case the business has excessive funds, there should also be a scope of returning the same. For example, you might have heard about the redeemable preference shares, which can be redeemed. The next is liquidity. So a financial plan should be such that helps the business maintain enough liquidity in hand, enough cash on hand. It could be cash or it could be the assets which can be easily converted into cash so that the business can meet with the future liabilities as and when they arise. Number five, financial plan should be such that gives enough provision for contingencies also. Now, what do you mean by contingency? It could be an uncertainty, something that may arise or may not arise in future. But because future is uncertain and we cannot predict the same, there should be a provision in the financial plan itself that in case a contingency arises, there should be a position to raise the funds from the sources as and when required. Now, this does not mean that we will raise excessive funds or we will keep surplus funds on hand. But if such a situation arises in future, at least there should be a provision to raise the funds when required. Number six, foresight. When we say foresight or foresightedness, a financial manager, while preparing financial plan, needs to peep into the future. he should not only look at the present requirements, but also has to see as to how much funds will be required in future. So he should have that foresightedness while preparing financial plan. He should be able to pay attention to the future financial requirements. Lastly, a financial plan also has to be economical. When we say economical, we should be able to raise the funds, raise the finance from sources which are cost effective. A good financial plan is such where you can raise the funds at a minimum cost but can make the optimum utilization of the same in the business. So whether it be equity, whether it be debentures, preference, bank loan, etc., it has to be such which is economical for the business. So I hope that you are clear with the topics we discussed today. To give you a quick recap, we have studied about the guiding principles, the types of financial plan, where you have studied about the types such as the long term, the short term, and the overall financial plan. You have done an important topic on the steps or the procedure of financial planning. You can have a quick glance on all the topics we did for today. I hope you have understood them clearly. So students, this was all for today's lecture. That is the process, the types, and the guiding principles of financial plan. In case you have any doubts pertaining to the topic, you can always comment in the Google Classroom of your respective class, and I shall be answering to all your doubts and queries at the earliest. Thank you so much for the day. See you soon in the next lecture, where we shall move ahead with the same chapter of financial planning. Until then, happy learning.